We're live. All right. So on Friday we did this. We had 2 vanishing points. Let me zoom in here. We dropped in. Come on. There we go. We dropped in a leading edge coming toward us. And remember, we went to the left. We went to the right. And then we ended them, and we ended up with some different boxes and buildings and cars. We're going to use the same formula today. We're going to make 2 vanishing points. We're going to drop in a receding edge this time, preferably not at a crazy angle like that. But watch, today we're going to go like this, and we're going to not go toward the point, away from the point. And this is kind of the basis of 2-point interiors. So you end up with a couple walls, left and right walls, and a ceiling, and a floor. So it's the same system. It's like almost like a little division sign, on its side. But today we go away from those vanishing points. So grab your straight edge, and let's put our focus. Let's put our eye level line kind of right through the middle, lightly. And get those vanishing points out as far as you can. Can't stress enough that if you want it to look more realistic, get those way out to the sides. And I do want to think a little bit, like I'm going to be drawing a back wall, my receding edge. So the length of that line matters. If I make it really tall, like this, don't do this. But if this was my receding edge, and I went like that, and I started to construct this room, oh my gosh, it's going to look like I'm way in the corner, like I just walked like this, way into the corner. And I'm not going to be able to have much room to draw stuff. So the length of this initial line really kind of matters. Also, this is eye level. And I'm about 6 feet tall. So I'm thinking when I draw my initial line, I want it a few feet above and maybe even a little bit more below. In other words, if that's an 8 or 9 foot tall ceiling, that's about where I'd be looking. Now in here we've got like 12-foot ceilings or something. So I'd probably go half and half if I were drawing this room. Now if you're super smart and you get it, you feel free to move ahead. But if you want to follow me, I am going to, it doesn't matter if you start with the right or the left. I'll start with this left one. And I'm going to, first I'm going to make it actually a little bit shorter. Because the shorter I make this, the more room I have for my room. So I think right about there looks good. And I'm going to extend a couple lines away from the left vanishing point. And then I'll do it the other way. Extend a couple lines away from the right vanishing point. Boy, I wish I could get those points out even further. And if I were doing this for a client, I definitely would add an additional piece of paper and get those out even further. So our room's going to look a little bit warped, but it will work. All right, I dare you, because you guys can do this at this point after 4 days of this, I dare you to put a door right here. Right here where my eraser is. If you can't, you can wait 5 seconds and I'll do it. But I want to see if you could drop in a couple vertical lines and an orthogonal going to the left vanishing point. Keep in mind those doors go pretty close to the ceiling. None of these doors going halfway up your wall. That's weird. So there's a basic boring door, or you can jazz yours up with a little bit of added woodwork, some trim around the edge. Oh, that makes sense. I put my eye hole right at eye level. Probably a good place for it. And I'm going to make a doggy door for Cooper. That's my Shih Tzu Poodle mix. He's getting ornery. I think he's,
Trust me, Ellie's getting the same way.
he's about 12 or 13 now, and he's got some attitude. I don't know what his deal is. Anyway, moving on. Just to kind of solidify what we're doing here, why don't you just quickly throw in a little bit of crown molding or some base molding down here, just so you're like, okay, yeah, everything on this side goes to the left vanishing point. That'll just reinforce it. So it's a little switcheroo from what we did Friday, our exteriors. Interiors, everything just goes to the opposite vanishing point. So I don't know if it's more difficult, but once you get it, you get it. Let's zoom in a little bit here. In fact, I'm just going to get my left vanishing point off the screen here. All we need is this left one right now. We don't need this right one. So I double dare you to try to make, you decide, put a TV over here or a window or some artwork. I'm going to make some artwork. I'm going to make a triptych. A triptych is 3 works of art. Like sometimes you just have one painting. Sometimes you have 2 that fit together. They call it a diptych. Or you have 3, you have a triptych. Or 4, you have a quadriptych. Anyway, I'm going to start with my orthogonals, because I can. And then I'll drop in my verticals. Now if your lines aren't really vertical, it's going to look kind of funky. Alright, so sometimes look at the edge of your paper and make sure that your straight edge isn't like tilted, but it's kind of parallel with the side of your paper. So I'm going to make one. Let's make another one here. 2. I'm going to make these a little bit bigger as I go back in space. And a 3rd one. I used to have a work of art like this in college. It was, my buddy made the frames and said, "Wait, paint something on this." And I ended up painting a giant eye. So when people walked into our apartment, they kind of freaked out. It was this massive eyeball looking at everyone who walked in.
You heard that I think that would freak almost anybody out.
Yeah, well, it was.
They don't expect it.
I thought it was cool. In fact, when I met my wife, she came to that same apartment, and I said, "What do you think of the artwork?" And I didn't tell her. She was my girlfriend at the time. She goes, "It's kind of weird." I'm like, "Thanks, I did it."
That's not awkward.
You know? Anyway, getting carried away with the artwork here, but, the main thing I want to leave you with, folks, is that these lines, all these lines are going to the left vanishing point. That's all you need. So if you want to throw a light switch over here or a little outlet or something, make sure it's going toward this left vanishing point. All right. Whatever you've got is great. I tell you, I'll give you another 15 seconds, but we're just going to do the same on the other wall. But I do want you to follow me on this left wall. We're going to do a closet today. We're going to do a 4-door closet, like one of those that I call it a bifold door that kind of, well, you'll see. So I better zoom out a bit, because right now all we need is the right vanishing point. I'm going to keep my left one off screen. And I'm going to start by sort of deciding where my closet lives. I think right about here. Of course, the top goes toward the right vanishing point. Now, I am going to use my X trick to find the center so I can make it have two doors. And I'm not drawing the whole X. I know I'm going to be erasing these things, so if you're making these X's, just get in the habit of just finding out where they intersect. Now here's a trick for you. I'm going to press really hard right in the middle so that I can just erase that X, but my dot will remain. Then I can carry a vertical right through there, and I've created two doors. And you might have a closet like that, but I'm going for 4 doors. So I'm going to use my X trick 2 more times. So watch this for 1 sec. This might speed you up. I'm going to do this one and this one at the same time. And then I'm going to do this one and this one. It'll just save you a second, not having to complete one at the same time. So now I've got 2 more X's. Again, I'm pressing really hard right in the middle of those. And then when I erase that X, I still have those 2 dots. And if you do this right, if I do this right and I'm careful, each one of these doors should look slightly smaller than the next one. Yeah, I think I did pretty good. Let's zoom in on that. So sort of mathematically, scientifically, like I've made each door slightly smaller.
I have a closet like that in my room.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I've got one when we first walk in the door, like at my house like that. And that's where we put our coats. That's the coat closet.
Some people don't even end up seeing the word closet in our house, and then I'm like, you walk by it like 3 times when you came by the front door.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to put a couple handles on these, and even these 2 little knobs I'm about to make, I would use my vanishing point on the right for these. I don't want these just horizontal. I'm actually using my straight edge to make sure that they are on a little bit of an angle. And then you can open them up. Now I'm going to wrap my crown molding right around into this room. You know we haven't messed with much is the ceiling. Let's put something on the ceiling.
Like a fan.
You could make a fan. Check this out. In fact, I'm just going to freehand this. Watch this. I'm going to go from this point and I'm just going to make 2 lines. And I'm going to go from this point and I'm going to make 2 lines. So I just picked a spot and I made 2 lines going toward these. And watch what we can do with this. So don't draw this yet. Just watch what I could do. I could have started with this leading edge here, and I could have made some kind of a boxy light that hangs from the ceiling with chains or something. But you could also, like what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a skylight. So I'm going to put in a receding edge here. I'm going to add 2 more orthogonals. And it should look like a skylight up in the ceiling. Well, if I did this accurately, it would be better. There we go. Any of you guys have skylights in your house?
I do, in my Florida room.
Do you? I don't, but I wish I did because I think they're really cool. Where you could just let the light shine right in. And if it were me, I would just give this a little bit of shading on one side or a little more on the other. Adding the shading always makes it look 3D and more realistic. So. So that was kind of tricky. I don't know if y'all hung in there with that one. I did that kind of quick. Let us put something in this bottom part. Let's put a table in here and use our leading edge. So I kind of envision, sometimes I do this, I'm in the habit of kind of envisioning where it's going to live. And I think, okay, the front of my table might be right about here. So this is much like what we did Friday. Now we are going to just go to the left and to the right. We're going to go this way. And over this way. You don't have to make it a choice. Is it a square table, rectangular table? How far back does it go? But I know that I have to drop in verticals to make this tabletop. And of course we have to remember what we did Friday, which was step 5.5, the old switcheroo. We got to find out where that back corner is. So we just need two orthogonals. There it is. So I know it doesn't look like a table yet because we haven't given it much height. It looks like a mattress on the floor or a giant pizza box. But if you got that to work, you could totally drop in a table leg. Like maybe right here. I'm just going to drop in a leg. That table's not going to stand too well on one leg, so I'm going to use a couple orthogonals to figure out where the other legs go. So I'm going to just lightly make a line that goes toward that left vanishing point, and then I know that this leg should touch that point. And I'll make one that goes to the right vanishing point. Here's a good habit to get into. I try to avoid as many orthogonals as I can, so I could just go like this and just make a little line there. That's all you really need. We just need to find out where does that leg go. I don't know if I'd see, I probably would see, I don't know if I can see the fourth leg. I'll have to figure it out. So if I cross my legs, that sounds funny to say. No, I don't think I'm going to see it. Yeah, right back here. If I could see through the table, it would be back there. I mean, you could have a see-through table. I guess you might see that leg back there, but from this view, I won't see it. I'm going to draw a vase with some flowers. There you go, honey. So here we're using both the leading edge and the receding edge. You could put all kinds of stuff in this room. You could make a bed or a chair or anything. If you had lines on the floor, you could just pick a vanishing point and just start making some lines. They get pretty warped once you get closer to that vanishing point. Ooh, this is really getting skewed. Try to avoid having your floor lines tangent with, say, the table where it's becomes part of the edge. So I'm going to kind of give it a rest. I wanted to kind of give you the basic formula. If you want to throw more things in there, ask me if, how do I draw this, how do I draw that, I can help you out. But I want to show you, at the time we have left, a couple more things. So continuing with 2 point, I want to show you how to draw a pyramid, a cone, a cylinder. Check this out. Let's eat up another page here and draw a line, an eye level line. Make a couple vanishing points. Folks, I'm going to make a cube right down here. Not in the middle, but a little bit off to the right. And at this point, since we've made that Rubik's Cube on Friday, you should be able to do this. Drop in a leading edge. And be accurate, but see how quick you can make it. See if you can just really quickly make yourself a cube. Because what I'm going to do is carve a pyramid out of this cube, like a 2D sculptor here. Now, if you're flying over the top of a pyramid, I hope you realize this, the point of your pyramid would logically be right in the center. Kind of like doing this X trick here. I'll just shade a little bit to make this more pronounced. So you're in Egypt, flying over the Giza Plateau, and the point's right over the middle. Well, we can find the middle of this top using our X trick. You could totally locate where the point of your pyramid would be. So if you got a good cube, then see if you can draw lightly an X on top. And there it is. Now you know right where the center of your pyramid is. And I hope you got that to work, because it's kind of cool, because then you can just go from that point down to the corners of your cube, and you've got a perfect pyramid in 2-point perspective. And this works in 3-point and 4-point and 5-point, same kind of rule. And yes, you have some erasing to do. So it might seem like a lot of work just to get a decent looking pyramid, but this is how the pros would do it, because they're not going to guess, what does a pyramid look like in this from this view? If my eye level's up here and I'm flying over it, they're not going to just fake it. Like, there's an answer. Like, that's how it would look if you're flying over it in a helicopter or something. So that's the why. Why not just fake it? Well, you want to know like how it would really look from that angle. So that's a little complicated. I'm saving the good stuff for last year, folks. I know this can get tricky, but if you got that to work, I'm hoping you can add just a couple steps and you can try to join me and we'll make a cone. So once again, right up in this area, I'm going to start with another cube. This one is going to be probably the trickiest thing we've drawn yet, so I hope you can try. I'll go slow. But let's just start by making a 2-point perspective cube, and we're going to carve our pyramid right out of here. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a cube. It could be an elongated cube, elongated prism, rectangular prism. So I'm going to make mine a little bit taller, so it's not exactly all 90 degrees. All right. I'll wait a minute for you guys to catch up. Now, just like a pyramid, if you were looking down on top of a cone, obviously the point is going to be right in the middle. If you were looking right down on it, it would look something like this. Just give that a little shading to make it look a little more obvious. Well, it's hard to convey it, but I'm trying to give this the sense that we're looking down on top of a cone. Well, how do we find the top? We can't even see the top of this. We're looking up the bottom of it. Well, in this case, you have to think transparent. You can, let me back out here, you can use your vanishing points, and you can try to pretend this is like a glass cube, and you can see through it and see the top. There it is. Let me zoom in on that so you can see. So that's a little, we've got a lot of lines going on right now, but if you can see it like I do, I can see the top of that, call it glass cube now. And if you can do that, then you can do an X on this part here. And then, of course, you could find the top of the cone shape. So it's a lot of work, but I'm going to make my X right up here. And going this way. And there is the top of the cone. Again, this is advanced stuff. Can you imagine if I started with this on day one? Whew. Now, I know I'm losing a couple of you, but it's okay. If you're still with me, we want to find the ellipse, which is the round part for the bottom. And that has to touch all four sides. And that's where your circle is going to go. But it's not so much a circle or even an oval. It's an ellipse. It's a circle in perspective. So just make sure you're touching all four sides. And then you can go from that point down to the sides. And you've created a cone in 2-point perspective. If you got that to work, you're welcome. If you didn't, I'm sorry. It's tough stuff. So don't be frustrated right now if you didn't get that. This is like one of the hardest things we do. Some of you are ready for it. Some of you not. It's okay. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these lines. Maybe you want to keep them so you can remember the secret sauce here, but check it out. You could carry this downward and turn this into a castle. If you're the type that likes castles and you want to end up drawing Hogwarts for your perspective drawing. Of course, I don't need this bottom part of the circle anymore. I really just need this part. So it should start to look like a castle or something. Here's Rapunzel's hair coming out here. But I often see people go like this. They'll just say, I'll just fake it. I'm just going to make the top of a castle. There it is. Okay. But that's not accurate. If it's above eye level, that's what we're trying to find is this curve. At eye level, it's straight. Like if we had bricks on here, they would be curved up here. But down here, they would actually curve the other way. And down here, they would curve more. And down here, they would curve even more. So hopefully this makes sense. Calculating these curves is what we just did. This is tough stuff, guys. So I'm sorry if this is a little advanced, or maybe you're with me. All right, let's give this a rest. I'll show you one more thing, and then we'll be done.